You know that little rush you get when you see a price like 499.99 cents? You think, hey, that's a pretty good deal. But what if I told you that feeling, it's not an accident, it's completely by design? See, the prices we run into every single day aren't just numbers. They're carefully crafted to mess with our brains, to nudge us in ways we don't even realize. So you know what? Let's pull back the curtain and see exactly how they do it. All right, so let's just start with a pretty bold claim here. When it comes to retail, that price tag, it's telling you a story for sure, but it's almost never the whole truth. Okay, so picture this. You're out shopping, you see a new phone, and the price is $499.99. What's your first reaction? Your gut probably screams, bargain, right? I mean, it feels like it's in the $400 range, not $500. But is it really a good deal? And what is actually going on inside our heads in that split second? Yeah, that's because that number isn't random at all. It's a trick. That price tag is basically a piece of psychological engineering. It's been so carefully chosen to play with your perception and make you feel like you're the smart one, making a great decision when really, you're being guided the whole way. So, to really get how they pull this off, we need to talk about the mental shortcuts our brains use all the time. I mean, our minds are literally wired to make quick judgments to save energy, right? And retailers, well, they've become experts at exploiting those exact shortcuts. And this is the absolute key to the whole thing. Pricing has almost nothing to do with what an item actually costs to make or what its, objective value is. Nope, it's all about what we call perceived value, what we feel it's worth right then and there. Retailers aren't just selling you a product, they're selling you the feeling of getting a fantastic deal. And look, this isn't just some crazy theory. As applied behavioral economist Melina Palmer says, when it comes to pricing, psychology is everything. It's not just like one tool in the toolbox, it's the whole dang toolbox. It's the filter that every single pricing decision goes through. Because at the end of the day, businesses are selling to people, and our brains don't run on pure logic like a computer. We run on feelings, biases, and all those little mental shortcuts. So, the big question is, how exactly do they do it? Well, let's open up the marketer's toolkit and break down 3 of the most powerful, most common tricks you see every single day. All right, first up is the one we all know. I mean, we all see it, but it's so ridiculously effective, we still fall for it all the time. Charm pricing. You know what I'm talking about. Those prices ending in .99 or .95. They are absolutely everywhere, and for a very good reason. They just work. And the psychology behind why it works is just fascinating. It's something called the left digit effect. See, our brains read from left to right, and we unconsciously anchor our whole perception of the price on that very first number we see. So when we see $2.99, our brain just latches onto that 2 and kind of codes the price as being in the $2 range, not what it actually is, which is just 1 single cent away from $3. And that idea of anchoring leads us perfectly into our second, and honestly, incredibly powerful tool, the anchoring effect. This is where retailers set a really high initial price in your mind, that's the anchor, so that any price that comes after it seems like an absolute steal in comparison. Okay, check out this classic experiment. When researchers asked one group of customers if they'd pay $189.99 for a radio, most of them said, no way, that's too expensive. But when they told a different group that it was a $500 radio that was on sale, marked down to that exact same price of $189.99, what do you think happened? They thought it was a great deal. That initial $500 price was the anchor, and it completely changed how they perceived the value of the radio, even though the final price was identical. And now for the third one, and this one is seriously clever, the decoy effect. This is where a company introduces a third option that's, well, it's intentionally a terrible deal. It exists for only one reason, to make one of the other options look like a total no-brainer. This is a famous real-world example. A newspaper was offering an online-only subscription for $59 and a print plus online subscription for $125. Unsurprisingly, most people just went for the cheaper online one. But then they did something sneaky. They added a decoy, a print-only option, for $125. All of a sudden, that print and online bundle for the exact same price looked like an incredible, obvious deal. I mean, who would just get the print version when you could get both for the same money? Nobody buys the decoy, but just having it there dramatically boosted sales of their most expensive package. Your choice was totally engineered. Okay, so we've seen the tricks, and honestly, it can feel a little disheartening, right? Like you're being played. But here's the good news. Knowledge is power. So now let's talk about how you can actually spot these tactics and start taking back control of your own decisions. Here are 4 simple, totally actionable steps you can use. First, and maybe most important, just slow down. When you feel that little rush of excitement from a deal, just pause for a second and ask yourself, wait, why is it priced this way? Second, mentally round up. See $499.99? Just think $500 in your head. It completely breaks the spell of charm pricing. Third, you gotta resist FOMO, the fear of missing out. A limited time offer is only a good deal if you actually needed that thing to begin with. And finally, read the fine print. Was that original price ever the real price? Or was it just an inflated anchor to make the sale price look better? So all of this leads to one last, really crucial question. Now that you can see behind the curtain, now that you know the game, what does it all mean for you? The next time you're shopping and you see a price that ends in 99 cents, or you see a big red 70% off sign next to a ridiculously high original price, you can ask yourself this simple question. Who is really in control here, me or them? Look, knowing these tricks doesn't make you totally immune, but it gives you a fighting chance. And honestly, just understanding the game, that's the very first step to deciding how you want to play it. And that, right there, is where your real power begins.